Good evening. Welcome to the October 5th Clark County Fire District 6 Board of Commissioners meeting. I'd like to call this evening's meeting to order and ask that you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
At this time, I'd ask for any additions to this evening's agenda.
None here.
Commissioner, could I add one addition? Public events under old business.
I'll note it here. We'll need to read and approve, post as necessary, our minutes from the September 19th regular board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Correspondence this evening in the packet, I didn't see any. Okay. Citizen communication. Citizens wishing to communicate with the board this evening can do so using the YouTube platform. There is an option for you to type in your message, and that'll be monitored throughout this evening's meeting. Committee reports. Risk management group.
Yeah, just one thing to report. We had met with the auditor, and they conducted an audit discussion with me, and I know that we're going to get a report, or the entrance report, coming up on Monday.
All right, moving forward with the audit time. Moving on to the consent agenda.
You doing health and safety?
There are no reports.
Oh, there's all.
Yeah.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Chief's report. Personal action report.
So we have a number of anniversaries. Casey Taylor with 22 years, Jeff Clean and Scott Johns both with 21 years, Andre Demaniuk with 3 years, and Dave Fisher is still on off duty on the job injury. And then for the facilities report, wanted to notify the board that we have hired a maintenance worker, part-time maintenance worker. His name is Brian Sorleen, and he'll be starting next week. So excited to bring him on.
How do you spell the last name?
Sorlien.
Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so he actually works nights at Anderson Dairy out in Battleground, and so he was looking for something to supplement that work. He has a lot of background in sheet metal working. They did an extensive interview and then also a skills station with Andre. And Andre, Brad, Chief Newberry, and Chief Schmidt were on those interviews and all really like this person. So.
Good. Thank you.
You remind me, Chief, how many hours a week is this?
It's 20 hours a week,
Okay.
but they can only work certain in a year, so sometimes those will be adjusted.
Okay. All right.
Was that 20 or 30? Sorry.
It's 20 hours a
20
week.
hours.
Okay.
960.
960.
Oh, thank you.
So the Station 6-1 remodel's underway. If you haven't been by it, you should go see it. It looks a lot bigger than I remember it, so it's neat to see. But just if you do go in it, notify Chief Newberry, and we need to wear helmets, iPro, and safety vest in there. We're working still on the owner furnished items that we have to get for the remodel. The generator is on order, so that has been purchased. The next big purchase will be the fueling station, and I'll let Chief Newberry describe that more. And then I'll talk later in the board meeting, but for the Station 63 storage building, we had some problems with the soil here, so we had to do some over excavation. And I'll cover that later in the meeting. So Chief Newberry is here to answer questions about the fuel tank at 61, if you have any.
I know that Chief Russell in Chief Maurer's absence last board meeting presented the proposal for the fueling station at 61. Through our facilities planning, we've assumed or assessed that we need one fueling station. The best location is for it is at Station 61. And of course the current tanks are obsolete and the containment system is obsolete and there's no monitoring there, so, and they need to be moved anyway. So we've proposed as one of the owner furnished items to have new fuel system installed. The fuel system is a smart system where it has an accountability feature so that we know who puts fuel in what rigs. It also has a monitoring system so that we can order fuel as needed rather than having it done on a keep full basis if we decided to do that. I've proposed, I've let you all know what the price is to do basically equal size tanks as what we currently have, which is 500 gallons of gasoline, 500 gallons of diesel, but doubling that and making it 1,000 gallons of each. I guess as we grow, it'll be good to have more fuel on site. If we have the big one, you know, it will be good to have that fuel on site rather than having to wait for fuel to show up. And then if we decided to not keep it on a keep full basis and just order it when we needed it, it would eliminate the keep full trip charges, which are about $125 every 12 to 14 days. So I think that for $10,000, it's a small portion of the overall budget of the project, that we should do that. It falls within the budget line item of that fueling system, which is about $250,000. That includes electrical and everything, but the tanks, what is it, $132,000 including tax, $132,543.60. It's still well within the budget for the fuel system, and so that's why I'm recommending that we go up to the 500 or the 1,000 gallon tanks. Currently we have 2 separate tanks. This will be 1 single tank, just for configuration. It just made more sense with the design of the project. That's it in a nutshell.
1,000 gallons of unleaded and 1,000 gallons of diesel.
Correct.
Who's running the power, the general contractor?
Yes.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So they can set it in place and just be able to hook it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the way it'll work is we will work through, the procurement process is through Sourcewell, which is our GPO, one of our GPOs. So it fulfills all the procurement requirements with the state auditors. So we know that we're getting a known product from a known distributor that's already been vetted by Sourcewell, so that's great. They will deliver the product, and then the contractor will take over from there, set the tanks, run the electrical, or the pad, all the.
And that's already in the bid.
Yes. No, this is not an up. This whole project is not an upcharge. This is included in the project already. The only thing is we originally designed it for 500 gallons a piece, and because it's an owner furnished item, it's not subject to change order fees from the general contractor. So, yes, we're getting charged for more of the tank, but they're not tacking on an additional whatever 12% or whatever it is to it, because they're not controlling the purchase of that. So,
Any issue with having that much gasoline for that long?
mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Oh, as far as wearing,
Just, I mean, 1,000 gallons of gas seems like a lot, and I don't.
Yeah, but
use
we-
water in it. Do we use that
We go
much
through a
gas?
lot.
yeah, we go through a lot. So if we're basically filling, we have a 500 gallon tank. When they're bringing fuel out, it averages about 300 gallons. We're using 300 gallons every 2 weeks. So instead of every 2 weeks, it's going to be every month, roughly, that we're going to be getting a fill. So
Is that all staff cars? Like, what are the brush?
staff cars, the squads,
Maintenance vehicles.
yeah, the maintenance vehicles, all the mowing the lawn, the generators, things like that.
Everything.
Air rigs, diesel.
And you're saying this is within budget?
Yes, this is.
Okay, all right. I think that was the
Big
issue.
question, yeah.
Yeah, question last time, but it seems like we're spending a lot of money, but.
Yeah, listen, everything is a lot of money. It's unbelievable. But the line item for this is $250,000. And the cost estimate from the architect and their cost estimator was a $250,000 line item for this entire part of the project. That does include the concrete and the electrical, but this does not eat up the entire line item.
Is there a warranty with the tanks?
There is. It's part of the bid requirements, and I can't remember if it was. I can't remember what it is, but it's a. If I said 10 years, I don't want to say that and then be wrong, and I don't want to say lifetime and be wrong.
I've seen these tanks replaced. So.
You've seen them replaced?
I've seen them replaced.
Yeah. Our current tanks, They have lasted a long time, but they are tired. Something's wrong with them. They won't hold paint anymore anyway. These are new tanks that have an interior or an internal containment system, so you don't have to do all the massive amounts of infrastructure in case of a spill, and it's a much more economical way of going about it.
Just so the board knows, this is about the same cost that they were when we bid them for 63 years, so it's one of the few things that cost hasn't skyrocketed on.
And someday we might have one here. Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we award Blue Energy Equipment the tank for Station 6, the fuel tank for Station 6 for $111,853.00.
And I will second that.
All right, moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
Can, the all-in price on that is actually 132,543.60.
I was looking at what you said. 111 must not have tax.
So 111 does not have tax or the increased size of the tank. So the total is 132,543.60 with tax.
So I'll amend my motion, awarded to Blue Energy Equipment for 132,543.60.
And I'm fine second.
All right, moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I have a couple questions, just actually a question on Station 6-1.
Sure.
How many bedrooms are we doing? And I guess are we looking out far enough to?
That's a good question.
So, are we looking out far enough? I guess that's the $1,000,000 question. We have planned for 8 dorms there, which is 2 full companies if we were to fully staff with 4. So in dorms, yes, but as we all know, it's not just dorms. It's day room space, it's locker space, it's all the other pieces of it. And we have tried very hard to plan for the future within the confines of that footprint, even though we've bumped it out a little bit. So we are going to probably need another fire station in the next 20 years, 15 years to take care of all the calls that we have. But we have maximized the space at this location with a capacity to hit 8 full-time employees.
Okay. Are they individual rooms?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no more.
No more.
No more.
No more shared buffer.
So there's no internal ability to say reconfigure down the road, use an office space and put a wall in and make 2 dorm rooms, or we talk about space and you know.
I think it's a bigger discussion on deployment in space. Once that station reopens with the remodel, it'll be a squad engine station again.
Right.
To build it for 2 4-person engine companies potential, that actually allows us quite a bit of growth, because we're not going to want to deploy many more resources out of that station. We'll want to put them somewhere else in District 6 so that we get better coverage, if that makes sense.
Over by Blueberry Hill.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean.
We need a station up there.
There's enough square footage in the building between the 2 wings that we could do a lot of things, but something else would have to give. So maybe if the board decided some day that they were going to lease or build an admin building and move the admin out of that fire station, then you'd then have the whole other side to reconfigure if you wanted to.
What's going upstairs on the north side? Is that just going to stay a meeting room?
There's 2 meeting rooms on the north side and upstairs, and we call them meeting rooms, but it's likely that cadets will occupy those. There's also 2 offices up there for 2 small offices for cadet instructors or instruction type.
So worst case scenario, we could make a couple up there.
Yeah.
Slide down the pole. Or take the elevator.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for that update. Let's see, we moved that, the fuel station was under the old business part. We also have public events under old business.
So last board meeting, We presented some ideas on public events and how we needed to rearrange those with the 61 remodel. One of the things in talking with Dave Schmickey is we would like to do an open house at 63, and I just wanted to make sure that the board was okay if we still did first weekend in June and move that open house here.
Okay.
I'm more than okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the first weekend in June 24th. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
same time we always do it at 61.
Okay.
We'll just
Yeah.
let the community know we're changing it to 63.
Yeah, I think it's a great event. I think it's good for the district to do.
Great.
Can I ask another question about facilities? Sorry. I looked at the dirt. So what's the deal with the dirt out here?
So that's our next.
Oh, it's the
item,
next. Okay, never
actually.
mind. All right.
And I'll
I have it up here.
let Chief Newberry get into the details of the dirt if we have more questions.
So I don't remember if Commissioner Pfeiffer was here, but I know that Chief or Commissioner Osmond was. No, Rocky weren't. But when we built this building, we owned a lot of the land already, but we bought this piece of it. This area down here is pretty wet, and so we had to put something called aggregate piers in the ground here, and to make this building okay here. Well, obviously, to build a storage building, we don't want to put aggregate piers in. That was a massive cost, and so we knew that there was a potential that we would have to do some extra dirt work here, but we just hoped, and the geotech and the architect and engineers thought it would be okay. But as we discovered when we started digging, it got pretty wet the deeper we went, and so it ended up that in order for us to meet the standard, the compaction standard, we had to do some over excavation, which is we had to pull out 2 more feet of dirt and then bring in 2 foot of rock and compact it in, I think, 1 foot lifts, put some fabric in there. I haven't looked at it tonight, but it looks like they've got the second lift in there, so I think they're back to ground zero now, and they're ready to do what the project initially was designed to do. So I appreciate your guys' flexibility when the chief called you to get that approved kind of out of the norm, but basically we were at a standstill. We had a crew that was not working, and it was going to be a huge delay. So that work has been done now. It passed the geotech's evaluation, and we're ready to go.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Yep, that's great.
But that amount still needs board action to be approved.
Oh.
So if the board chooses, the amount is $44,129.88 for the over excavation work.
Plus tax.
Plus tax.
Let's pull the dirt out, bring rock in, and layer it.
Yep.
Okay.
Contractors love add-ons, you know.
Yeah.
Just so you know, while the board asked me to run this project, I have used McKinsey's help on a lot of parts, and evaluating the change orders is one of those things, because I don't know if that should cost twice that or half that. That's not my field of expertise, but they review our change orders, and they said that it was within the industry standard what they were asking. So everything is expensive, rock not included. In fact, it's hard to get rock right now, so we were using crushed concrete to get it, and it's the cheapest option right now.
Was that the concrete we dug up that they crushed?
Yeah.
So we had to pay to get rid of that concrete,
Had
and
to
then we
get
had
it
to
back.
pay to bring in crushed concrete.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'll make a motion that we move forward with the over excavation at Station 6-3 for $44,129.88
Plus tax.
Plus tax.
plus tax.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alrighty, thank you. Next up is budget work session for Station 151.
I just wanted to notify the board that on October 18th at 4 o'clock, we're going to do a special work session at 151. Last year, if you remember, not all the remodel and upgrades that the station needs was included in the FFB budget, so we had to pull that out of our budget separately. And I asked to have this meeting so that we could budget properly for next year with the FFB.
October 18th.
Yeah, at 4 p.m.
If either one of you
151.
want to attend, then we need to post that as a public meeting, so we need to let the secretary know.
I'm taking my dog to the vet at 3, so I don't know.
Well, I'll be glad to report back and
Yeah,
tell you
you'll be
what we
there,
had.
right?
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
be there.
Yeah, that'll be fine. Okay.
And it's not gonna be an extraordinary amount of money. I think there's a wall in the door and a
Those
couple
are
other
the-
things, but.
Those are the items that are currently waiting the permitting process.
Yes.
Yeah.
We could still, we could be waiting for a long time.
Maybe next budget after, yeah, okay. There's no other real big forecasted items associated with it?
No.
The other big item is workout equipment. That will be an expense item, so. But other than that, no remodels that we have planned right now.
Perfect. All systems are working smoothly there then. Okay, perfect. Well, October 18th, 4 p.m., budget workshop. Next up is the 2024 preliminary budget workshop.
So normally the board schedules a workshop the first meeting in November, so I can present the preliminary budget. That gives you 2 weeks to review it, to move for adoption if you choose at the second meeting in November. So if you guys would like a workshop, you would have to make a motion to schedule that workshop and state the time.
That's also, you need a public hearing that same,
Oh,
Right.
yes, thank you.
that's required by law.
Yeah, I would appreciate the workshop format to work through the budget.
Yeah, and we aren't gonna know, well, we do know what the raise is costing
We do.
for the
Yes.
local.
Yeah, because it's a 3-year contract, so it was built in.
And then the insurance went up 6%, but we still have lots of salaries that have to be plugged into that.
The one
Before we go
insurance that
forward.
really hurt us, and I think we carry 15 or 16 employees on it, is Kaiser, and it's almost a 17% increase.
Will that be on on November 7th? Our normal board?
Your normal day,
Yeah.
if that's, yeah.
Okay.
And that'll be the hearing too, right?
This will surprise you, I'll be remote on that meeting.
It will require a motion to schedule the public hearing.
Workshop and public hearing?
Well, the public hearing part of it requires a motion.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion for the public hearing on November 7th
Do you want to start at 6, or do you want to start earlier?
at
6 o'clock work for you, Commissioner? Okay.
At 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
That's election day.
It is election.
Regular meeting to follow immediately thereafter, I thought I
Yes,
heard you say.
that's exactly what it says, yes.
Perfect, good job.
Thank you.
Moving, that was a motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. November 7th. Okay. Alrighty, next up is executive session. The board will be moving into executive session this evening. That'll be in accordance to RCW 42.30.110, parentheses 1, parentheses I. That is to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency matters relating to agency enforcement actions, or to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency litigation or potential litigation to which the agency, the governing body, or a member acting in an official capacity is or is likely to become a party with public knowledge regarding the discussion is likely to result in an adverse legal or financial consequence to the agency. This should last 20 minutes. 6:40.
The executive session has been extended 25 more minutes till 7:05. 7:05. executive session has been extended 10 more minutes till 7:15. Executive session till 7:15.
Board met in executive session and took no action. Moving on, roundtable, good of the order.
I have one. I attended the planning commission meeting a couple of weeks ago concerning the impact fees for fire departments. After an hour and a half of lively discussion, and their concern was, like the building industry is that it adds more money to the price of a house. But they did vote 4-2 to send it back to the county councilors with a thumbs up. So we got past that stage. We still have to get, and I don't know who the department's going to do it, but somebody has to come up with the formula and figure out how much it costs. We're going to do by square foot on commercial, so much for residential, so many apartment units. There's a way to do it. We have to come up with a whole proposal that's got to go back to the county councilors and back to the planning commission and back. So what do you think, we're a year away maybe? Maybe
That's
longer than that.
done individually by each department.
Yes.
So each department
Yeah.
will write their capital facilities plan, which will
Right.
have those formulas in there.
So we have
But
to
yes,
have that.
probably a year away.
So somebody is going to write a capital project plan. And that does include equipment. Can't include personnel, but stations, equipment, fire engines, those sorts of things. And District 3 had their formula figured out already. They gave some examples. And I think it was,
Well, they get impact fees with the city of Battleground,
okay,
so they were gonna use that same
they
formula.
were going to
that
say
they used.
formula. So commercial would be by the square foot, apartments would be by the unit. I wish that assisted living facilities or some other way that we could change the law or something. And I think
They're not included.
Bonaventure we go to once or twice a day, and I'm on TV, that's okay. But they're, 400 or 500 times a year to one facility. That facility, I think, is abusing the system, but we've got to go. There's liability. But the planning commission, it was good. I understood the 2 no's, and I appreciate the 4 yeses. So somebody's going to work on our plan. It's going to take a long time to put the plan together. So when we go back to the county council, we'll have a plan. But we're through 2 steps of what, a 5-step process, something like that. So we're moving forward. So
Great. Thank you for that update. Any other roundtable good of the order this evening?
So one other thing is on Tuesday, last week we got a line on a tractor John aerial that has potential to be bought. So on Tuesday, Chief Russell and his team are gonna go out and look at this tractor John area out by Umatilla.
Yeah, it's in Hermiston, Scott Stand, if you know.
Yeah. Hermiston has a tiller truck.
And you can tell them a little bit about it, but
So yeah, it's Umatilla Fire District 1. It's an old Portland TDA actually. It used to be Truck 22. Hermiston, I think, was given it some years ago. They've kind of used it as a parade rig, but apparently it runs great. It's been meticulously maintained. They haven't really used it operationally at all, but they are getting a straight frame aerial in and kind of need to make space. So it sounds like a screaming deal. So we're going to take Brad, and actually we've asked for a TBF&R aerial mechanic to come out with us to do a quick evaluation. But yeah, it sounds like it'd be well within the chief's budget threshold as far as purchasing goes. So hopefully we get a nice training truck. Even potentially it could be something we could use as a reserve. If not, we could drive the tires off of it.
It'd be nice just to have something to train on.
Yeah.
well,
So when the new one comes in, it doesn't take us 6
And you burn
months
through a set of
years.
tires just in training, so
Oh, yeah.
and those are expensive tires.
Yeah.
So we've been working with a consultant from Seattle Fire, and we had him look at it as well. But yeah, he doesn't feel like it's like your frontline truck,
No.
of course, but it is a good one to train on. That's similar to our spec. So
And we
most
could
likely
use
we
it-
wouldn't put it into service before ours comes, but use it for a training rig.
We could use it for a reserve rig for a surveying and rating bureau.
Yes, you could. I don't know where we'd store it, but you could.
It's part
Number
of
one.
2 trucks?
All right. Well, thank you. With that, we'll need to authorize payment of current bills, pre-authorization transmittal, authorize monthly commissioner compensation.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Are there any questions this evening?
There's one question about the fuel island consideration. What about DEF pump?
What about what?
The
DEF.
DEF pump?
Gas.
DEF.
Well, we put them in the engine separate.
They make
Put in
pumps.
modern
Oh.
day diesel.
Oh.
Can you get their contact info and I'll have Chief Newberry contact them?
Yes, it's Patrick Reynolds.
Oh,
Oh.
great question. All righty. Thank you. With that, meeting is adjourned.